Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. I have an awesome show lined up for you today. We'll do our best. I think over the last couple of episodes, I've gotten really excited, so I let them run over maybe a couple of minutes. And so I'm kind of hoping I can run over a little bit on this one because I'm really excited to provide a crazy amount of value for you in terms of business process. How do you hire the right people? How do you plan your vision for 2020? And how do you streamline a business? Quite frankly, I think we've forgotten that process management is just as important as the product that you have in your business that you're pitching to people and your people, right? Like Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet says it himself, and he says it beautifully. I'm a process, people, product person. And in no particular order, but quite frankly, all three of them are really important. So with me is going to be Gary Harper, and he is a mad genius. And when I tell you a mad genius, I actually mean like mad genius. Like he knows his stuff from A to Z. And he's with sharperprocess.com, so you can check him out there. And I think he coined that term, and I love the term. I actually told him that I wanted to buy sharperprocess.com and then flip it to him like a real estate deal, and he said, no, that's not going to happen. So I lost out on making millions of dollars on that. So I'm going to connect with Gary in just a second. After he and I finish, which would be roughly in about 15, 17 minutes from right now, we'll talk about how to use leverage when investing in real estate with your 401k. And that should be a really cool discussion, roughly about 2 minutes on that, and then we'll go ahead and end the show. So that being said, this podcast is brought to you by Clint Coons of Anderson Business Advisors. He's nationally recognized for providing bulletproof asset protection, tax, and business strategy advice for real estate investors. Go to getbulletprooftoday.com and receive Clint's book titled Asset Protection for Real Estate Investors for free while supplies last. All right, so let's get the show started. Gary, welcome, man. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Good to have you on the show.
Man, I appreciate you having me on. It's always fun and an adventure, and I never know what to quite expect when we get together. But, man, it's sure an adventure every time.
Oh, for sure. So let's start off just with the basics. I know who you are. The regular listeners to the Think Realty radio show, when we had that, know who you are. For the Think Realty podcast viewers that don't know who you are, you should be ashamed of yourselves. But really, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So Gary Harper, I'm the founder and president of Sharper Business Solutions, and we help today's real estate investor build a business. Right. So, and everything that encompasses that. So Sharper Business Solutions is an ecosystem that helps you with your people, your processes, your vision, your communication structure, connections. It helps you with really streamlining your business and taking the real estate investor, if you think about it from the Robert Kiyosaki model, from the self-employed quadrant to the business owner quadrant, right? And really turning this thing that we call real estate real estate investing into a true business, right? And leveraging other people's time, other people's money, other people's and processes to grow the proper business.
So when we talk about getting 2020 off on the right foot, and I mean, for me, a lot of my 2020 planning I start doing the beginning of the fourth quarter of the year before. So I'm generally through a lot of my planning by early November, mid-November, and then come Thanksgiving time, I can actually eat turkey and be okay if the tryptophan puts me to sleep. I don't worry about that. You know, but for those folks that want to know, how do you do the 2020 vision, or even if it's 2021, 2022, it doesn't matter. How do you do a vision for the year so that you are putting yourself in the best position to win?
Yeah. So, I think it's interesting. I always tell people this is the year of vision. It's 2020, right? So 2020 vision is the year of perfect vision, right? So we have to make sure that if there's ever a year we're going to create a vision plan, it ought to be in the year of vision, right?
I thought it was the year of Barbara Walters. I don't know. I mean, like the year of vision or Barbara Walters. I was really hoping that Barbara Walters in the countdown would take it away from Ryan Seacrest and say, I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
I think everybody in the nation was hoping for that, right?
I know.
And, it could have been anybody other than Ryan Seacrest that did it, and I would have been happy. No,
yeah, exactly. But yes.
The vision plan, and I think if you're planning your vision in the fourth quarter of the previous year, you're right where I would want you to be from a business coach perspective. However, I don't think that's true in most cases. I don't think most people are thinking that far ahead. I think a lot of people are killing just to eat, every day, and they're not really strategically planning, right? And so they're thinking about what do I need to do tomorrow a lot of times, not what do I need to do in 12 months from now, right? And so, and I think it's a big mistake. I think it's um, one of the reasons why so many people come to our boot camps and things like that is to get help with that, right? I actually have a book coming out in February 20th, 2020 to play off the old 0220 called 2020, the year of clear vision, and how to actually plan a clear vision plan. And so there's two things that we find. One is people don't do it, or two, they don't know what to do, right? I mean, I'm just picking goals, and there's so many suggestions out there on what you should do and how you should do it. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's a really simple process. I mean, there's 10 areas that I try to focus on when creating a vision plan. The first area that I'm trying to focus on is I'm trying to come up with making sure that I know what my mission statement is. Like why am I doing this business? That's a part of our vision plan, is understanding why you're doing it, right? The purpose, the cause, the passion, if you will. A really great book here that I've recommended to many people is the book Traction. The book Traction by EOS is a great book to help you create a vision plan. There's another one called Scaling Up that helps create a good vision plan. Make Big Happen by actually I don't remember the author of that, but The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. Right, these different ways to go about reading and researching to help you build a vision. But I always tell people that you got to start with the basic concept of planning ahead. And by planning ahead, what I mean is you have to predetermine a course of action, where we're going. You have to lay out your goals to get there. And that's the acronym of plan: predetermine, then lay out your goals, adjust your priorities where you are, and then notify key personnel, whether it be employees or partners or even a spouse. I always joke around a little bit. If you're planning to quit your job in 2020, you might want to let your spouse know about it, right? So plan ahead.
That's right.
Next thing is the ahead, right? The acronym for that. Allow time for acceptance. When you lay out the plan, you got to allow the people around you that's going to help you achieve those goals to buy in and accept it. Then you have to head into action. You have to take that step to move forward. You have to expect problems are going to happen. I think what's one of the biggest misnomers in real estate when you're building a business is, a lot of people take the easy picture. And business is simple. It's just not easy, right? And so you have to expect problems. You have to always point to success, or you've heard it before, fail forward, right? Keep going. And then daily review your plan. And so a part of that is creating a vision plan. So number one, knowing your mission statement, why you do what you do and what you're trying to accomplish long-term. Number two, know your core values. Know your non-negotiables. Know why you should do it, right? Like who you should hang out with and who you should bring on your team. You need to know your core values to be part of that. Next is you need to know what niche you're going to focus in. One of the biggest mistakes, Abhi, and you can attest to this, that I see with real estate investors that fail is because they're not focused, right? They get good at one thing and they think they ought to be good at everything.
That's right. That's right. I mean, wholesalers too, right? You take a look at wholesalers. Wholesalers will want to flip. They want to do buy and hold. They want to do new construction, build to rent, notes, probate, mobile homes. It's like just no. You might want to transition, but when you transition, just pick what your heart desires and go deep. You don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep. You want to be an inch wide and a mile deep.
Right. No, it's true. And I think, honestly, as I walk through what the areas are that we need to create a vision plan in, this area of niche, this area of focus is critical, right? It's so critical. I mean, if in the last 3 years, we've helped over 200 real estate investors coach their businesses. And in that time frame, the ones that I see that struggle, the ones that have the hardest time with growth success, is the ones that try to do too much. I love masterminds. Our industry's littered with them, and I'm a component of it. I believe in them. The one thing I think you got to be very cautious of when going to them, especially around a vision plan, is trying to, chasing too many shiny objects, if you will, chasing too many things that might derail you, right? And the guys that the guys that I've seen struggle the biggest are the ones who don't get great at one thing first, right? And then they allow themselves to get distracted. I was with a guy one time, and he was talking about focus, and it was pretty funny because every time he said the word focus, he had an accent, and it wouldn't come out as focus; it would come out as fuckus, right?
Oh
And
gosh. Oh
and,
my gosh.
I loved it because I'm like, that's what happens when we don't focus. We change the meaning of the word from focus to fuckus, right?
Oh
And
my
that's
God.
exactly what happens.
So I got great at one good. I felt like for me, just taking me as an example, I got really great at one really good thing, and that was interviewing people. And then I got distracted once we started doing the video podcast, and you can thank Eddie Wilson for this. And then I got distracted with how beautiful I look on video. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm one handsome dude. It's
Right.
nuts, right? Like even
Right.
Floor's laughing at me. He's producing the show today. But that's too funny. But to your point, hold on. To your point, if the latter, you can't focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to pick that niche.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what's the niche you're going to focus on this year. And here's the thing. I'm not opposed to a visionary going out and starting multiple different businesses, right? It's just who in your team is going to stay focused on that business, right? And so if you can get a COO or as EOS calls it, an integrator or something like that, focusing on your business, then you can go out and start other businesses. But you have to have somebody focused on that niche, right? And that business, and not robbing the resources from one business to help the other. And then next is you got to have, as Jim Collins calls it in the book Good to Great, he calls it the BHAG goal, right? You have to have a 5 to 30 year goal. That's going to help you achieve your mission. I always tell people your 5 to 30 year goal ought to be the definition of your mission, right? And so whatever your mission statement is, what's the definition or the description or the measurable to getting that mission accomplished, right? 5 to 30 years. Next, have a 2-year plan, 3-year plan. And EOS talks about a 3-year picture, right? And so you want to have a 2 to 3 year plan. Now, for me, in a real estate, guys, with where the economy is and everything like that, I don't like people that are looking out past 2 years right now, right?
Yep.
Like it could be somewhat of a dangerous model, looking too far out and not creating the focus. So with real estate guys, I always tell them to try to go in for a 2-year. And then the next one is a 1 year, 1 year focus, if you will. What are you going to do in the next 12 months? Okay. So a vision plan doesn't just encompass, and this is where the misnomer comes in. It doesn't just encompass, 90-day goals. It does encompass that, but it also encompasses a 1-year plan. It encompasses 2 to 3 years from now. It encompasses 5 to 30 years from now. It encompasses your niche. It encompasses your core values. It encompasses your mission statement. That's all your vision. All that is a vision plan, right? So that's where we make a mistake. And we ought to start with the end in mind and work our way back, right, into 2020. And so when we get into 2020, now we want to know what's our revenue this year, or if you're in real estate, what's your gross profit, because revenue doesn't matter, right? I mean, if you buy a house for $999,000, sell it for $1 million, your revenue is $1 million, but you only made $1, right?
Right.
So it's more for me like, what's your gross profit, right?
Right. Right. Give me EBITDA, right? Like I want to know EBITDA. I don't want to know revenue because that
doesn't mean anything.
Nothing.
If you're trying to sell the company one day in a real estate company, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So understanding what your gross profit is. And then understand what your net profit is, right? Yep. Gross is going to be your HUD to HUD statement. Your net's going to be after COGS and expenses and things like that. Yep. And so knowing what those are, what are you forecasting it to be? And then what are your deliverables, right? What are you going to do? How many houses are you going to flip? How many houses are you going to buy and hold? How many houses are you going to wholesale? How many notes are you going to buy, right? Like, what are you doing? What are the deliverables to measure to meet those revenue or those profit goals?
Yeah.
Right. So knowing those, and that's the first step.
Yeah, that's right.
The next thing I want to do is I want to know what are the top 10 things, no more than 10 things that I have to do this year to help me hit those deliverables. So if I'm going to wholesale 100 houses this year, buy and then wholesale them, then I need to know what are the main activities that I have to do. Do I have to build a buyer's list? And how many people need to be on that buyer's list? Mm-hmm. And when building those goals, make sure they're smart. Make sure they're specific. Make sure they're measurable. Make sure they're obtainable, right? So,
That's
and
right.
what I mean by that is you can answer this question really easy. And that is, how do I know it was done? How did I know it was done? If
That's
I
right.
got this goal and I completed it, how did I know it was done?
Right.
Right.
What's
A
the
lot of times,
KPI? Who's responsible
right.
for reporting on that? Right. Like KPI is a key performance indicator.
Right.
Yep. And whether it's an integrator, the COO, whomever is responsible for that line of revenue or that activity, and that activity has some type of revenue associated with it. Did that number go up? Did it go down? How do you know? How do you measure it? And how frequently are you measuring it to gauge success? I do want to talk about process management just for like 30
Okay.
seconds
Yeah.
because
Sure.
we're almost at time, Gary. And like
Okay.
I feel like that we need to do multiples of these, maybe like a series
No,
2, 3, something like that.
love this.
Give me 30 seconds to maybe about a minute max on why process management for real estate investors is super hypercritical in 2020.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's to create a sustainable business.
Yeah,
Without the process, our process is the way we do things. It's the way we do business. And it's usually the most neglected part of what we do in business, right? We wing it. I hear people talk about it all the time. I just wing it. The reason why it's so critical is because, for one, if you're ever going to build a business and you're going to delegate to other people, you have to have a sustainable model by documenting your process and being able to teach it to someone else, right? So you have to be willing and able to get the process out of your head on paper, simplify it so it's understood. Because why? Because employees, customers, your marketing, all those things that are processes, the confused mind says no. The
that's right.
confused mind says no, right? So if you don't have a simplified process that's documented, easy to understand, then other people, your employees, your customers, everybody's going to go, nope, I don't want to do it.
No, that's right. I mean, and at that point, it does not become duplicatable. And as a result, your business is not going to be successful the way that whatever you define success to be in your business. And if you decide to hire anybody new, integrators would have a major issue with that. And you know that even after you go through the personality tests, they're going to say, even if it's a good fit for the company, they're going to say, what the heck is going on? This process sucks. And I can't even scale it. So that's
Yeah.
it. That's what you do at sharperprocess.com. That's the website, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, sharperprocess.com. Our
Cool.
company name is Sharper Business Solution. Our website's Sharper Process. And that's one of the many things we do. We help people get the process out of their head on paper, create vision plans, help them
Yeah.
hire the right people, put them in the right seats. We're predictive index partners, so we help you, profile or behavioral test your people. And I'll tell you this, and I know we're coming to an end here, but one of the things I think you probably ought to walk away with, if I'm sitting there today and I'm like, hey, listen, I want to build a team. I have a vision. I want to get the process out of my head. That's not me.
Right.
I know how to do this, but most visionaries aren't going to sit down and document a process, right? And it's like going to the dentist. They don't want to, right? They just don't. And so you hear us talking and they're going, oh, I've heard that before. I don't want to do that. And so
Right.
here's the thing. Leaders love people. Leaders love people. That's a visionary. But managers love process.
Yeah.
Every business I start from the scratch up is I always take my vision first, and then I go hire an integrator, a office manager, an assistant that's high in process to build the process.
That's
Right?
smart.
Because honestly, guys, it's not us. Right? We could do it, but man, I would rather go get a root canal done right now than this. Sit down. But
that's
that's why I have people in my company that build the process for me.
That's pretty. I mean, yeah, root canals sound more appetizing. Like I'll sit through a root canal. That's great. It doesn't even matter. And like I'll have like a German Shepherd attached to my, like, biting down on my femur
Yeah.
during my root canal. I'm okay with that. But like a process, like, there's no way. There's no chance. Like if I have to sit here and write everything down, it's not good. So Gary,
Yeah.
I appreciate the time. We're at time. Otherwise, I'd like have you for an hour and a half. We could do this all day. It's just one of my favorite topics, and you're one of my favorite people, man. I certainly appreciate you taking the time. Think Realty Nation. If you want to get in touch with Gary and his team, Sharper Business Solutions. The website is www.sharperprocess.com. Again, sharperprocess.com. Please keep an eye out for the book that he has coming out very shortly, and that will also be highlighted, I'm sure, on the website on sharperprocess.com. So Gary, thanks so much, and we'll be in touch here soon.
Yeah, and let me just say this too. Also, Abhi, there's a ton of videos on process, people, and all that right on thinkrealty.com as well. Being a resident expert as well as you. we have a lot of videos that we've already recorded for people if they wanted to subscribe with that.
That's right. And I've actually sat through those videos, I've taken notes. I was about to say tooken, but that's not grammatically correct. I took all the notes, and I've taken notes before, and they've really helped me streamline some of the ideas in my business that I thought, well, geez, like I don't need this, but wait a minute, I do. And it's all thanks to you. So, Gary, thanks again, man. I appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
You too. And this segment is brought to you by Real Property Management, which is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. Learn more at realpropertymgt.com or call 888-806-7088. I'm going to kind of whiz through this section real quick because, you know what? Listen, if you have a retirement account and you're thinking about investing in real estate, here's what you need to know. Self-directed IRA or self-directed 401k. Now, there are rules and restrictions on what you can invest in, what you can't invest in, what you can do with it, and that obviously you need to be an arm's length away. You can't own a business and invest in your own business with a 401k. The same thing with real estate. So there are a lot of different rules and regulations. If you get it wrong, you'll be penalized heavily in your self-directed IRA. You can leverage it, but be careful with the leverage because some people think that it's easy to do, non-recourse financing, etc., but really understand the rules here. There's a really awesome article on Forbes.com written by Dmitry Fomichenko titled How to Use Leverage When Investing in Real Estate Using a 401k. And listen, I mean, understand the rules, understand the game that leverage plays. You can get in touch with Dmitry. If I remember correctly, he's the founder and president of Sense Financial, which is a boutique financial firm that specializes in self-directed retirement accounts. So understand the rules. That's all I got to say. And I know I'm saying that like a bunch of times right now. If you don't get the rules, you don't play the game. So play the game, understand the rules, and you'll win. Think Realty Nation, that's a wrap. You want to get in touch, do it. Go to thinkrealty.com. We're getting geared up for Baltimore here in the next couple of weeks, so you should definitely join us and check us out there. Go to thinkrealty.com/Baltimore to purchase your ticket. And last but not least, our podcasts and our shows are not possible without our sponsors. And today's podcast is brought to you by Clint Coons of Anderson Business Advisors, nationally recognized for providing bulletproof asset protection, tax, and business strategy advice to real estate investors. Go to getbulletprooftoday.com and receive his book titled Asset Protection for Real Estate Investors, and it's free while supplies last. You want to make sure that you capitalize on that book. I know I've received my copy, I've read through it, I've earmarked everything, and I always text him and email him with questions. And what I love about Clint and his team is they always got back to me, even though my questions are a little crazy and out of the norm. So, Clint, if you're watching, you're a rock star. Thank you and your team for always helping me out. That being said, Think Realty Nation, you know how to get in touch with me. I'm this guy laughing here and up here. Why I'm on two different screens instead of just like the entire screen beats me because I'm just that beautiful. But if you agree, hit a bunch of likes on my stuff and we can share that little dialogue online. All right, that being said, see you later.